Ladies and gentlemen, it's now time to be inspired. It's time to call on stage the man who broke free from legacies of the trade to create one of the largest networks of profitable auto dealerships nationally with 36 outlets across 5 states. Yes, we are talking about the Landmark Group. Ladies and gentlemen, let's put our hands together for Mr. Sanjay Thakker, promoter and chairman of the Landmark Group.
When Nabil Khan called me, I was pleasantly surprised. I never knew when it was started in 1998, when a friend of mine, I came into this trade accidentally. I'm the first generation entrepreneur as far as the auto trade is concerned, and I never thought that I would reach this podium. I really had no idea. The other thing which I did not know, many people ask me whether I had that foresight, whether I had that vision. No such thing. One thing led to the other. On hindsight, it is very clever to say that it was all planned and it was all strategic and all that. I believe that if you have tailwinds behind you, which I clearly did. We started in the state of Gujarat, and Gujarat was, as we all know, going through a good patch. So it started with good things happening. We did all things which were like common sense related, and that has led me to this stage as we speak. I will use this. I was quite intrigued by time and again people talk about digital disruption. So I'm using this platform to throw in a new idea. Are we also ripe for a brick and mortar disruption? The way we do business, we have been spending far too much time. I'm not taking away anything from Amit and Umang, that's the future. But we as dealers, there are a lot of dealers over here. Is there a way we can do it differently? That is also a part of what I will cover today in whatever time I have. And I will try to make it slightly interesting and obviously interactive if it moves. So, what was auto dealership all about? The auto dealership, before the kind of liberalization and the auto transformation that we got, had a supply side issue. So, really a dealer would sit on a lot of bookings, make a lot of money, really didn't bother about anything that we all talk about, whether it is customer satisfaction, whether lead management. Oh, really, actually those guys were chasing you. So getting a dealership at that time was something like some 2 generations would make a lot of money. Some such thing was in play. After that, things pretty much remained similar for a length of time till we have reached, suddenly somewhere in between, things started to change. But how were the OEs selecting the dealers? After that, what started to happen? And this is our take on it. I'm a rank outsider from an industry. That's why maybe I started looking at it in a slightly different way than most people would. And how do even today manufacturers select dealers? You need to be an HNI because you need to invest money. And you also have to be interested in this business and run it like a good CEO. It can't be different. So management and ownership really is supposed to be 2 in 1. Also, what are we seeing? We are seeing that this is impossible to scale up. There is obviously a management bandwidth issue. How many dealerships can you really technically run? So when we started in 1998, what did we do as Landmark Group? We basically separated the two. The ownership and the management was different in 1999. It is different today. Now this is a kind of disruption in a way that we brought to a very, very predictable business model that we have all been running over here. Now let's look at why do people take auto dealerships today. I'm being slightly blunt, and please allow me to be that. It's the social status. We all know why some of us take especially the luxury brands. Easy finance. Try setting up a manufacturing unit and see how difficult it is to get bank finance. Start an auto dealership and you will be flooded with a lot of bankers offering you very cheap and easy credit. Now that's a good way of getting money and maybe doing it somewhere else. Real estate. Have we actually asked the question to people who are lending us this money to buy real estate, whether they themselves are buying real estate? The banks that lend you, do they for their own branches buy or let out? The OEs who tell us to buy properties to set up dealerships are sitting in rented offices. What is exactly happening? I believe is happening is that there is a kind of a hidden profit that we all at the back of our minds, I'm talking from the dealer community point of view, thinking that it is ticking. So if the dealerships do not make money operationally, it is kind of offset. It is okay. As a group, we said it is not okay. So owning a real estate, I have been in the real estate business before I joined this thing, and I really firmly believe that real estate appreciates as much as any other asset class over a period of time. It is not, over a period of 5-6 years, it may do well. Over a period of 20-30 years, it will all even out. Warren Buffett once said that never borrow to invest. Dealers are doing exactly the opposite of what has been suggested by the guru himself. What we are also seeing that the white good money, the structured money, people who are really not interested in real estate appreciation, till the time our deal happened with private equity, they were really not interested. Even today, it is a very difficult thing. Why is not organized sector in a way? I'm not taking away that there is no organized sector here, but it is less organized than many of the retail sectors that we see in. Because of 3-4 things. One, the dealerships are not really transferable. Two, what is happening is that everybody is sitting on a lot of real estate. No retail format in the world really invests in real estate. It's a asset light model that the world is moving towards. What the dealers are doing is basically creating a lot of heavy assets which have really no value for business. That's my submission. I'm an outlier and that's what has worked for us. Now, the point here we are trying to, as a group, throw up is this one of the reasons why the number at 2.5 million, we have been hearing 2.5 million since the morning. Why is this 2.5, 2.7 million happening? Is it because no structured money or organized retail is coming in? We still want to do the business the conventional way. Is there a better way? I think only time will tell. I'm just throwing this idea. We all know the problems which are faced by the industry, low productivity, manpower cost, real estate cost. I will dwell a little bit on the focus on the cost of ownership over here. Recently, there has been a spate of manufacturers who are getting into the cost of ownership angle and the labor rates, the parts rates and all that. The dealers would kind of relate to what I'm saying. Now, what it would mean is that would drive down the margins that the after-sales department gives for auto dealers. Where will it get compensated from? World over, the dealers work on margins which are similar to India. Maybe a 2-3% net margin is what the world works on. But the composition of it is slightly different. Somewhere, say in USA, it comes from the used car business. In China, it comes from accessories business. So each country has its own kind of way of structuring this business. In India, it is the after sales. Now, suddenly there is going to be pressure over here. Where will it get compensated from? I have no idea as of now. Okay, so this is who we are for people, I think. So we have deep relationships with Honda, Volkswagen, Mercedes-Benz, Ashok Leyland and Jeep now that has come to India. We last year clocked a turnover of around 2,200 crores, and we run one of the largest insurance broking companies in India, which is something which has happened, where again there was a private equity investment which happened. We are pan-India, focusing on retail insurance broking mainly. It all started in 1998 when accidentally I was sitting with a friend of mine in a restaurant in Mumbai, and I was in the real estate business. He told me, what are you doing nowadays? What I was doing was that I was receiving threats from underworld because I was in the real estate business. So he said, would you like to do anything else? If he had offered me like a sofa dealership, I would have taken it if you ask me. So I said yes. We landed up in Honda's doorstep. They were looking for a dealer in Ahmedabad. They liked us and we started. Few things that we did at that time and which I think served us well was that my friend Milan, unfortunately he is no more, we decided that we will not take anybody older than us. We were in our early 30s at that time, and we said that we will not take anybody from the industry. We will not take anybody who has a lot of experience. Let's look at it threadbare. Let's look at it with a lot of excitement and the way it should be looked at as a child looks at the world for the first time. And that's something which has helped us. Now, looking at these timelines, there have been some events which are important than the others, and that gave us heart to expand beyond a certain geography. And those were when in Surat, when a dealer went belly up, we were asked to kind of take over the dealerships, and later on in Calcutta, some years subsequently. That's where we got tested. This entire management style got tested, whether this is what we have been doing, will it kind of stand, will we lose money, will we actually succeed? And touch wood, that has succeeded. So those were the kind of two turning points as far as the organization is concerned. I think there is some amount of interest. Nabil and Ketan told me outside that there is some interest in how that private equity investment happened. So there are some 2-3 slides on that is what I have put in over here. Private equity, TPG was looking at to replicate what is their China Grand Auto investment story to be replicated in India. Now, China Grand Auto became the largest automotive retail chain in the world, beating Auto Nation a few years back. And they are selling maybe 5.5 lakh cars every year. They have 500 plus stores. Now, that is a huge scale. In Indian context, this is incredibly large. So they were looking at a partner who could, in a maybe a little bit smaller way, replicate this kind of a story in India. Because we all know that Indian market was larger than the Chinese auto market till only say 15 years back. So sometime in our lifetime, the story is going to unfold. Let's hope that it happens sooner rather than later. Basically, for paucity of time, I'm running through some of the slides. Now, I spoke about the professionally run dealership, where I said that the ownership and the management is completely different. Long-term debt, again, something which many dealerships take, mainly to fund real estate, sometimes to fund equipment and the others, is not there. We have no or negligible long-term debt, and this is by choice. We did not believe that property buying on installments or a EMI is a good idea. Now, I have been proved right as of now. I was proved wrong 7-8 years back. Tide may again turn, but this is something which has worked for us. Really, time will tell. So that's the point. Because of landmark insurance, we have an extensive amount of vehicle owners data that we have for across India, which comes in handy for selling of cars. The employees are empowered. Now, this is an important kind of a thing. I mentioned in one of the speeches earlier that I did not sign my check 17 years back. I am not signing it even today. So we have a good amount of checks and balances. We are compliant organization. So all taxes are paid. The guys of PwC will be happy to know. But this is something we do it by choice, not because the private equity investment came in. We were always like that, because being an absentee landlord kind of a business model that we ran, if we started some kind of hanky-panky, it would come and bite me as a promoter. So that was never done. The profits, we have treated the personal accounts and company accounts as completely different at all times. If my son is to travel from point A to B, I will pay the money. The company will not pay the money. If I am going on a holiday, my company will not pay the money. Now, this is something which has been happening for a very long time. I know of dealerships who have come into trouble because of some daughter's wedding which happened, or some bungalow that was constructed. Now, one will have to be one will have to choose what one wants in life. So please take dividends, please take salaries. But if you want to make an organization, it is something that you will have to, it's a clear-cut demarcation. I'm reminded of a story. I mean, this is a story. Nalin said story is a good thing to engage audiences. Here is one more story from my side. So yesterday, a good friend of mine sent me a story which says that what kind of manager are you? Are you like Ram or are you like Krishna? So it's a very short thing. It said that Ram had a large army of reasonably incompetent people. So Ram, being the best warrior, led from the front, did most of the strategy and execution himself. While Krishna, as we all know, in Mahabharata, had a lot of competent fighters with him, whether it was Bhim or Arjun or the whole host of people. And he said he's not going to fight. And he only guided people to give them direction. Now, what I have figured out very early in my life is that I am not a competent warrior. So why not become like Krishna? So that is something which has worked for us, and all the dealers will have to choose whether they will want to lead from front or kind of have a strategic bent of mind. There is a story in the never say die attitude which I mention to everybody wherever I get the chance, and this is what defines our organization. It is the people who run the organization. Basically, please choose very competent, if need be highly paid people. Give them authority, don't look over their shoulders. During the Godhra riots, our dealership, for some reasons which we need not go into in this forum, was burnt to ground. And entire stock was destroyed. The dealership was just not there. And it was end of February, the Godhra riots. So March is supposed to be a good selling month. Obviously not in those scenarios, but March is a good selling month. So I was in Bombay. I land up after the kind of shoot at sight curfew is lifted 2-3 days later, I land up in Gujarat. And what do I see that outside the burnt dealership, there is a tent. And in that tent, some cars are displayed. And our people sitting there with the board, we are open. Now, this is not what I had expected. This is really not what I had expected. I thought people would be running for cover, nobody would be around. So this is the culture that we basically want to imbibe in our organization. Times are tough, times will be tough. Now, how you deal with it is basically, it defines, I think, I often tell my people that it kind of separates men from boys. So we want to be in that category. One or two things which are ground level, mainly for dealers, because Nabil said that in today's time, what is it that dealers should focus on? There are, all are experienced people, really, nobody needs to be told anything. People have been in business for a very, very long time. One or two things which I have not touched upon earlier is a kind of a focus on small receivables. What I have in my experience seen is that it is never the large receivable which goes away, because we are all focused on it. It is the small 5, 10, 15, 20,000 rupees which in hundreds and thousands, whether it is after sales bills or they are the, say you sell a car for 10 lakh, 10,000, get 10 lakhs, 10 lakh, 10,000, get 10 lakhs, and that 10,000 goes away. I would urge people to basically be focusing on that. Don't try to fund long-term assets with short-term money. This is again something which is an industry malice right now. People have been using the working capital to fund long-term money, and then it is a recipe of disaster. The numbers are just not happening. We have seen the Car Dekho app. We have been inspired by what they do. This is a very nice thing. We, at our end, also have been developing things for ourselves because we wanted to be future ready. So as a group, Landmark has invested in people and processes. We have our own internal MISs, because I believe that the manufacturer MIS or the DMSs, by whatever name they want to call it, are really not that useful for dealership operations. They will serve the purpose of the manufacturer completely or to a large extent, but the dealership operations are really not served that well. This is our meaning, and we need to know a lot of things which are generally not shown by the manufacturer DMS. So we have invested a lot of things in what we call the LIS, the Landmark Information System. So I think this brings me to the end of my presentation in the time allotted. I again will close my speech by saying that समय समय बलवान है नहीं मनुष्य बलवान काबे अर्जुन लूटियो वही धनुष वही बाण. So times have been good, God has been kind, and we have reached where we are, and thank you for having me here.
With that, let's move on to our next presentation, which is by Mr. Amit Jain.
Today I'm here to just talk about, consumer experience and what the journey is. In all fairness, everybody who's running a business, choti dukaan or badi dukaan, everybody is focusing on one basic aspect of life, that is to make the consumer happy, whoever is transacting with them, a happy consumer. And we have mulled over it. We as Car Dekho, Girna group of the automobile sites we run, we are also into bikes, trucks, tires, etc. Our mission is very simple. We want to create delight, consumer delight through innovation in any automotive experience, be it buying, selling, or car owning. And I am making a bold statement. So we will have to keep on innovating to do that. What we realized was digital basically helps you do a lot of stuff, and there are a lot of different background industry people sitting out here, and my presentation is not specific to car industry at all. It's about experiences, and we all will have to learn how to create that experience. Typically क्या होता है? When I heard our manufacturer friends, a dealer perform नहीं कर रहा है, तो हम लोग दूसरा dealer ढूंढते हैं. Let's go to the root cause. What do you mean by dealer not performing? Is it just a sales number that comes out, as a number that dealer is not performing? कि ये गाड़ी इतनी नहीं बेच रहा जितनी बेचनी चाहिए, हमारा experience अच्छा नहीं. We'll have to understand, this is a science. Experience is a science. Experience is not outcome. What we are looking at is outcome. Sales is the outcome of experience, obviously. We'll have to understand that we have to bifurcate our processes into small steps which we can measure, which I call in our internal company enablers. Experience is enabled. Experience is not created by putting a stick and saying ki ye karo. It's a DNA. It's a DNA that we go ahead and create. Since the consumers have come digital, the experience is obviously start taking place digitally. In my new world, in my new vision, when I talk about creating consumer delight through these digital technologies that I'm going to be discussing today, what I'm trying to probably hint at is that I want everybody to have a report card, a health card, you may call it. Like अगर आपको बुखार है, आप डॉक्टर के पास जाते हो, आपको बुखार ना आपको पहले दवाई देता है, आपका 4 दिन तक नहीं उतरता, वो बोलते हैं कि ये ब्लड टेस्ट करा लो, ये टेस्ट करा लो, and then he sees that and tells you that this is a real problem, this is where the real issue lies, and this is what you should take as a treatment. We cannot say that outcome was bukhar, so sabka same internal diagnosis. Everybody had a different issue. Every patient that goes into a hospital has a different issue. And I've been working hard on this problem of understanding that each consumer is a different consumer and has a different need. And the experience that needs to be given has to be different. It cannot be one cut fit all. The people, how many people are in marketing here? Anybody in marketing here? 2 of 3, 5 of you. How many of you are in sales? How many of you are running your own startups? Oh, many of you, right? So, for the segment out here, this is most relevant. कि हम लोग बोलते हैं हमारे को basically business बड़ा करना है, and we have to do this. So we have to know how do we measure, like a health card की ये आपकी report आई है, इसका मतलब ये है कि आपकी dealership पे ये जो X नाम का executive है, he is not performing. And performing का मतलब है कि he is not made calls to this, he doesn't follow up on time. Example, अगर मैं इतना fine grained solution लेकर आ जाऊँ कि you can pinpoint where my real problem is. That is what dealers really need. Dealers don't want कि हमारा sales नहीं हो, उनको भी पता है sales नहीं हो, उनको भी धंधा नहीं हो, right? What dealers really need is ये sales क्यों नहीं हो? मैं लाला हूँ, मुझे नहीं पता तिजोरी वाला लाला जैसे कि वो term use होता है, right? So I don't know. I have not run companies in a process earlier in life, and I really want to. It's not like that. That's not my ambition. I of course want to, run a successful business. I want to sell more cars or sell anything for that matter. So what we at Car Dekho have been doing is we have been trying to understand this whole process of how the consumer experience starts. Consumer experience is a word that basically defines your brand. What do you think about it? If I ask, what do you think about this dealer? That's his brand. What do you think about this manufacturer? That is his brand. Often confused that manufacturer brand and dealer brand is same. It's not true. It's a very different brand in consumer's mind. Manufacturer के बारे में अलग सोचते हैं, dealer से जो experience मिला उसके बारे में अलग सोचते हैं. The guy who's about to buy a car, and I'm gonna be a little car more specific example, but it applies to every domain from where you are. Applies to auto parts, applies to any industry you may be in. जब consumer एक car खरीद रहा होता है उसकी एक need होती है. And the need is very different. For example, मैं कार खरीद रहा हूँ for मेरी अभी शादी हुई नहीं, and I need a car for a new marriage. I want to take my wife around, weekend बाहर जाएंगे घूमेंगे. I just got promoted in my job. The emotional need सबकी different है in terms of why they are buying a car. या फिर अभी just family में बच्चा हुआ है, एक थोड़ी spacious car ले लेते हैं, right? Everybody of us has a very different need to buy that car, that car we want to own. Then there are functional needs obviously. The functional needs like I want to buy a car to go to office. I want to buy a car, I'm a trader and I have to carry some goods from Delhi to Jaipur and I buy a car. अभी हम लोग इस वर्ल्ड में देखें जो करंट वर्ल्ड उसमें होता है एक कार बनती है, बहुत बड़ा एनालिसिस होता है. एवरी मैन्युफैक्चरर एनालाइजेस अ लॉट कि हम किस सेगमेंट के लिए गाड़ी बना रहे हैं, क्या कर रहे हैं, एंड देन दे कम अप विद एड. इन ऑल रियलिटी द कार इज बॉट बाय the consumer for different needs and different functional needs. Both emotional and functional needs are different when the car is being bought. And that's what we have realized at Car Dekho. We have spoken to millions of consumers now, and we understand the emotional need of buying a car and a functional need of buying a car, which are very different. So why should the marketing be same? When you are on a mass media like a print or you are on a medium like television, you have no option but to one cut fit all kind of a marketing. So in the new world that I imagine, years down the line, marketing is going to change. Each one will be explained why and how this car solves this need, rather than trying to say that this is the car and this has got this much engine and this is XYZ features. Why don't we start relating to the need of the consumer rather than trying to sell car based on features? The new world will not sell car on features. The new world will sell car on consumer need, understanding and empathizing with the consumer. The empathy will be a core value. And this applies to all businesses, my friends, whatever you're sitting there at. And when we speak to these consumers, we understand it's a big moment of their life to, buy this car. घर, गाड़ी और शादी कराना is like the three achievements. उसके बाद हम लोग मर जाते हैं सारे, ठीक, ये तीन चीजें करने आते हैं ऐसा लगता है. At least the way I ask people 3 milestones of life, शादी, घर खरीदा, गाड़ी खरीदी, that's it, right? That's how people define their lives. And a lot of you are elder to me, and I'm sure you would have experienced the same milestone in life, and I have. All I want to do in life, my life is I want to give a measurement to everything, and that's my mission. I want to digitally enable everybody, every business. And since I'm focused on car business a lot more, the concepts may apply to every industry, but my solutions will apply primarily for car industry, or auto industry, or bike industry, or CV industry, or tire industry, anything related to auto basically. So this ecosystem will have to have a measurement of experience, and you have to measure experience. When I say measure experience, experience is a function of doing certain things in a set process having the right training tools for your people who sell or market. But until you're measuring it, it's not going to work out. So what we have been building and working hard is, जैसे एग्जाम्पल लेते हैं, अपन लोग बोलते हैं कि यार इस डीलरशिप पे कार नहीं बिक रही, अब कार क्यों नहीं बिक रही, तो फिर if you go into depth of the dealership, and I have gone to many dealerships and I have converted multiple dealerships with our technology from selling X to 2X cars also, frankly speaking. The idea was we understood what is process of selling car. You have to basically make a connect with the consumer first. आप कंज्यूमर को बोलते हो, हम बोलते हैं ऑफर बता दो, प्राइस बता दो, फलाना ढिमकाना, एंड देन ही फाइनली सेज कि चलो फॉलो करते करते सर मैं आपके घर आ जाता हूँ गाड़ी लेके. The intention of the guy is to meet the customer somehow. The executive sales can never happen without meeting. Let's be frank. It's a relationship that gets established and you sell, and it applies for anything. So we realize that for car sales, minimum 2 meetings are required. We can probably predict the sale of the outlet if you know how many 2 meetings plus have happened in the outlet already. ऐसा तो कोई नहीं होता ना कि एक मीटिंग में आया गाड़ी खरीद, बहुत रेयर होता होगा मतलब कुछ हेस्टी बायर्स होते हैं, बट मोस्ट ऑफ द पीपल वांट टू टेक टाइम टू see the car, understand more, compare and get a quote out. So what we thought was, how about just building a tool that basically measures what executive is not able to. कि उसने कंज्यूमर को सच में कॉल किया कि नहीं किया. उसने जब कंज्यूमर से बात करी तो जो सक्सेसफुल एग्जीक्यूटिव है वो अराउंड 2.5 मिनट बात करते हैं. 2.5 मिनट्स का उनका एवरेज टॉक टाइम होता है. अगर आपके एग्जीक्यूटिव का टाइम 30 सेकंड्स आ रहा है तो गाड़ी नहीं बेच सकता वो अच्छे से. तो नाउ माय मेजरमेंट टेल्स मी टू एनेबल एक्सपीरियंस, डू नॉट मेजर द आउटकम इस बंदे ने गाड़ी नहीं बेची, उसको गाइड करो कि प्रॉब्लम क्या है, एंड एवरी गाय कैन सेल प्रोवाइडेड ही हैज अ स्पिरिट टू सेल. तो अगर एक्सपीरियंस क्रिएट करना है तो आपको समझना पड़ेगा कि अच्छी कॉल कैसी होती है, एक अच्छी कॉल में किस तरीके से बात करी जाती है. वो 2.5 मिनट करने के लिए क्या करना पड़ता है वो भी बताना पड़ेगा. हाउ डू यू मेक दैट कॉल 2.5 मिनट्स. And that's what we are doing at Car.Deco, frankly. We are building tools that help you measure the whole process. अब उसने बोला आप मेरे को 3 बजे कॉल करना एग्जाम्पल के तौर पे कस्टमर की. अब मेरे को पता है वो 3 बिजी कस्टमर है, कार खरीद रहा है, ऑफ कोर्स ही हैज मनी, तो 3 बजे शार्प कॉल जाना चाहिए. वी ऑल वांट दैट एज एन एक्सपीरियंस कि 3 o'clock मींस 3 o'clock. रियलिटी के अंदर 3 का कभी 3 होते ही नहीं. नाउ आई कैन टेल यू बिकॉज आई कैन मेजर. आई हैव built an app that sits on the executive mobile and tells me when he really made a call. And on an average, the delays are in days, not even hours. You'll be shocked to see. So that's how we enable experience. If I now know that Mr. X is not making calls on time whenever the consumer is asked to, all I need to do is coach him to do that, and that fixes the problem. And there are thousands such problems. I'm just taking a small example of a scenario. Multiply this with so many complex processes. Finance का paperwork होगा, delivery होगी उसकी, एक दिन बुकिंग की अमाउंट देगा, एंड यू कैन अंडरस्टैंड द होल जर्नी गोइंग ऑन लाइक दिस. सो माय मेन पॉइंट इज दैट आई एम हियर टू टेल यू दैट डू नॉट बाय अ सॉल्यूशन फ्रॉम मी, बट enable measurement somehow. Technology enables measurement for you, and what you can measure is what you can honestly improve. If you can't measure it, you won't be able to improve it. And digital is the best way to measure it. Digital is the best way to understand customized needs. हम लोगों ने क्या किया Car.Deco, वी अंडरस्टूड कि लोग क्या हमारे साइट पे ब्राउज कर रहे हैं. अगर बंदा कंफ्यूज है कौन सी कार अभी खरीदनी है, उसको पता नहीं है, तो वो जाके फिल्टर लगाएगा 5 to 10 लाख कार. सम पीपल हैव ऑलरेडी प्री डिसाइडेड मेरे को मारुति स्विफ्ट खरीदनी है एग्जांपल, आगे सीधे स्विफ्ट पे जाते हैं, प्राइस देखते हैं, टकाटक लीड डालते हैं, एंड दे कन्वर्ट फास्ट. वी हैव अंडरस्टूड दिस कंज्यूमर हु इज सर्चिंग विद इन फिल्टर्स ऑफ 5 to 10 lakh cars is a different consumer, and he takes around 5 months, 4 months to buy. He has just started his research, he doesn't know. This guy who has just entered with a predefined model is already decided, and he buys in 35 days. So we have been able to map these journeys. So each consumer has a different journey of how he buys and what parameters influence him to actually buy a car. अभी जो बंदा जो 5 महीने जिसका टाइम बचा है, manufacturers, sub manufacturers इस टाइम है to explain the car to him because he's not pre-decided yet. And this represents around 45% of my people at Car.Deco who go through this route and take around 4-5 months. अभी तक हमारे को माना जाता है कि हम लोग डीलर्स को लीड देते हैं, वो कार बेच पाते हैं. That's not our business, very honestly. That's not the business we are into. We are into a business of creating delight for our consumers who want to buy cars and give an experience unparalleled. And the experience is across multiple brands, multiple dealerships, which we have to enable as a platform sitting in the middle. And that's what we are really trying to do, frankly speaking. Now to this guy, as I said, this guy who's just looking at 5 to 10 lakh cars, Manufacturers have ample opportunity of 4 months to explain why their car fits their needs, if they understand their needs. We at Car Dekho have understood why he needs a car. And the marketing has to change. So if you understand, the journey starts here, 4 months before he buys a car. Dealership को walk in होता है exactly 20 दिन पहले, 21 दिन पहले. And if I give a digital lead, it cannot be treated like a normal walk-in lead because it's a very different phase in which he is being given to the dealership. Typically, executive का walk-in का आदत होता है. He'll make a call, वो बोलेगा अगले महीने खरीदने की सोच रहा हूँ. And executive will think, यार, I won't be here next month. Maybe I'll join another dealership. How does it matter? Mark, the lead is lost. Sales is a function of relationship. अपने को digital leads में advantage ये मिल रहा है कि अपने को मौका बहुत मिल रहा है relation बनाने का. We'll have multiple months to build that relationship and act like a trusted advisor to the consumer. He'll buy your car, frankly, if you are able to demonstrate that grit and the passion to follow him. And whatever I'm saying has been implemented in a few dealerships and which we turned around, frankly speaking, in terms of how the experience was. Then of course we do not say that we'll measure it on our own. Outcome is consumer is happy or not. So we came up with a way of collecting surveys and asking simple questions instead of 30 questions. One question is, was the experience delightful? If the answer is yes, it can encapsulate whatever you did across the journey. That one answer tells me everything. Questions like, would you hire the executive who sold the car to you? If he says yes, he's a great executive. Things like those, okay? So, if we try to understand, outcome is here, enablers are with me, and if I can enable measurement of each of my enablers, does he make calls on time? Does he really explain the car the way it should, which takes X amount of time to explain the car? Was he transparent to give the information? सब कुछ automatically record करे मान लो, तो हो गया काम. In all fairness. उसने बोला टेस्ट ड्राइव देने आ जाओ घर पे. अब एग्जीक्यूटिव रियल में गया कि नहीं गया किसी मैन्युफैक्चरर को नहीं पता. हाँ, डीएमएसएस में रिकॉर्डेड है कि वो गया है. इन ऑल ऑनेस्टी. बट यू वुड वांट टू मेक श्योर कि जितने टाइम पे उसकी टेस्ट ड्राइव थी वो वहां पहुंचे. इमेजिन जो कनेक्टेड कार की बात कर रहे हैं यहाँ पर, वो कनेक्टेड कार की टेक्नोलॉजी कंज्यूमर एक्सपीरियंस में क्यों नहीं यूज करते? कि अगर कमिट किया कि 5 बजे पहुंचना है, मेरे कार में कनेक्टेड कार लगा हुआ. Why consumers first? Why dealers need it more than consumers, in my opinion? If they have to really sell cars, they should know where their car is, test drive car is. Did it really even reach the consumer point where it should have? And I'm saying measure everything. Measure everything. And we at Car Dekho are basically building tools to do this measurement only, very honestly. And though this logic applies across all industries, so you can think about your own industry and think कि मैं क्या measure करना चाहूँगा. But car selling process में ये enabler है. Timely call करो, transparent information दो, कितनी देर बात करनी, empathy है कि नहीं. एग्जाम्पल के तौर पे अगर आपके एग्जीक्यूटिव ट्रेन ही नहीं हुए कि किसी ने आके बोला कि अरे यार ये पोलो ये बहुत महंगी है आपकी गाड़ी, एग्जीक्यूटिव से सर इतने की है भाई आप ले लो. एक है सर, मैं भी पहले ऐसे ही सोचता था जब ज्वाइन किया था, महंगी लगती थी मुझे भी. फिर मैं आया तो मुझे पता लगा कि इस कार के अंदर ये टेक्नोलॉजी है, जर्मन इंजीनियरिंग फलाना ढिमकाना. तो इफ सडनली स्विच द पोजीशन, मैं भी बिल्कुल एग्जैक्टली वही सोच रहा था जो आप सोच रहे हो सर. और अब मैं जब जाना हूँ इस गाड़ी के बारे में मुझे ये पता. तो आर वी यूजिंग दैट टोन और नॉट? तो बहुत सारा कुछ बाकी है. अगर ये कॉल रिकॉर्ड हो रही है मेरी सारे एग्जीक्यूटिव की और मैं सुन के उनको ट्रेन कर पाऊंगी, तुम्हारा ये वाला पार्ट इज व्हाट नीड्स ग्रूमिंग, यू आर डन. एवरीबडी विल सेल. आई बिलीव एनीबडी कैन सेल as long as we understand the right problem of the executive and solve that. His pitch has to be defined. If I understand that he is not able to tell about the car properly, what is the key differentiator on why the consumer should buy this car, we have to enable a technology in which he can put the need. I'm getting married. I've got a family of 4 now, so I want a car for that purpose, and I will be using it for my daily commute. Tell me advantages of your car, and it comes on the screen, and he's able to explain to the consumer, this is how I fit your need. This is your moment of need, I fit it. So I don't think that intrusive marketing is going to work at all. What's going to fit is coming up at the time of need. मतलब आप एक जिन हो, आप छुपे हुए साथ साथ चल रहे हो हाथ पकड़ के, and you appear when he needs you. That's a moment of need, and the consumer needs you at that point. The new vision is that marketing should stop and marketing should appear only when it's required. When he's thinking about you, yeah, you appear. हमें कार खरीदने की सोच रहा हूँ, सामने अचानक से आ गया कोई. Imagine a new world. That's exactly what I want to really do. अगर पहली विजिट में आके जैसे हम लोगों की साइट पे होता है, पहली विजिट पे बंदा आता है तो he's not decided. तो आके केवल पिक्चर्स देखता है, गैलरी देखता है, खूब सारी पिक्चर देखे जाता है. अब इसको कुछ देखना ही नहीं है, उसको मैं बोलूँ प्राइस ले लो, ऑफर ले लो, उसको चाहिए नहीं फ्रैंकली. his need right now is visual delight. I want to just watch gallery, I want to understand cars कौन सी exist करती हैं जिस budget में मेरे पास है, and I just want to see picture. वो उस time पे variant तक नहीं जाता. Towards the end of the journey, he starts comparing variants of one particular car. At that point, I know Nirvana. This is a pivot car. This is the one he's planning to buy now. Imagine if the marketers knew that, I know all the X car buyers, and if you want to do marketing, market the Y car, you have to, pitch against this car now because this is his car, he's decided. That's marketer's delight. Creating a select pitch for the needs of that consumer who's about to buy that car. That's what I really want to do. So my talk today was around this only, that any business that you may be in, which really doesn't matter, you have to focus on consumer experience. And the journey is long on digital platforms especially, because digital इतना कोई क्या आपने मोबाइल खोला कार की साइड पे चले गए. अपन लोग ये experience enable करेंगे digital measurements से, tools से, which we'll build together as an industry, and ensure कि हर experience के step measure हो पाते हैं. And then let's see how many we can sell. All I can say is happy selling and happy experience to your consumers after that. That was all I wanted to say. Thank you. If anybody has any questions, I'm more than happy to answer.
No, my question is actually, like, let us say if I as a dealer go with your application.
Yeah.
Now, what our experience has been with your Car Dekho or any of the online portals is that generally inquiries get shared within the other dealerships also. If we go for this application of yours, will the data be protected?
Impossible. If in case it gets shared, will you ever give the data to tell me?
No, see, if someone is searching online for, let us say, Honda City.
Yeah.
So the experience has been that that is your own data.
Of course.
So you generally try to, share with other operators also.
So I'll tell you what we do, and I'll just pause here. I do not share any data with anybody, very honestly. Consumer asks for it, that I want to take a test drive of Honda and Nissan and this. And that's, as a platform, my right is that if you want this, I'll make an experience for you. Now coming to your own data,
on our data for this platform of yours where you can measure the performance of the sales consultant.
So I can guarantee you two things. One, that updates you make on even my data are not shared with anybody, number one. And I don't use it because that's your data, that you created. Number two, any data that you input from your end, be it form of lead, is not even stored on that server on which Car Dekho data lives. It is completely secure outside in the other form. And let's be honest, in case you get to know कि आपने एक lead डाली, उसको दूसरे dealer का call आ गया, आपने खुद की lead डाल के check कर ही सकते हो obviously. You will never use my platform. Let's be very honest, you will never use my platform.
We generally don't get that much time because we have plenty of inquiries, and that is why I'm asking.
Honestly, the business will stop. And I'm talking about experience. If I don't give experience to my dealers, how will my business run?
And have you started this platform?
Yeah, we have.
It's available for
It's
the
available.
dealers?
Yeah, it's available.
Okay, thank you.
Now, what I want to ask is that I come from an insurance background.
Super.
So now what I want to ask is that I want to take two approaches from two different industries. One is from the insurance broking point of view.
Yeah.
Like whenever customer wants to buy an insurance product, they go to an insurance broker also.
Yeah.
Because an insurance broker, he can sell any insurance company product.
Of course.
So he can give an unbiased advice.
Yeah.
And the other aspect is from the logistics point of view, the last mile support.
Correct.
Even though there are big companies, UPS, FedEx, but still there are last mile connectivity providers also.
Yep.
So what I was thinking, in such in today's market and times, with products like yours, cardekho.com, it has become such what you can say, refined. So do you think that if I want to make a name for myself, say providing a customer unbiased advice as a car consultant, again it's very old now, it has become very old practice. Do you still there is still space for this, by providing an unbiased advice and bringing that last mile advice, because customers are already using your site to gather all the information.
इकोसिस्टम के लिए टूल्स बनाने पड़ेंगे, तो मैं वही कोशिश कर रहा हूँ. मेरा पर्पस ये नहीं कि मैं इंश्योरेंस की कंपनी खोलूँ, ना मैं मैन्युफैक्चरर हूँ, ना मैं डीलर बनूँ. मेरा पर्पस वो है ही नहीं. मेरा पर्पस है कंज्यूमर डिलाइट, और कंज्यूमर के लिए ये सारी चीज़ें एक होनी चाहिए, सीमलेस. आई वांट टू बी अ प्लेटफॉर्म दैट एनेबल्स दैट, एंड उसके लिए भी टेक्नोलॉजी बना रहे हैं हम लोग, जो आप कह रहे हो उसके लिए इंश्योरेंस रिलेटेड टेक्नोलॉजी भी बन रही है. पर हम लोग क्या इंश्योरेंस कंपनी बनना चाहते नहीं, हम लोग वो नहीं बनना चाहते. You want to enable a seamless, unbiased experience for a guy who is about to renew or about to buy a new one. But transactionally नहीं सोच रहा आजकल मैं. I'm not thinking इतना टारगेट है, इतने इंश्योरेंस काट लो. I'm thinking कि मैं इंश्योरेंस अगर बेचूँ उसको, तो उसकी प्रॉब्लम क्या आएगी? गाड़ी ठोकेगी, उसको गाड़ी टो करनी पड़ेगी. अब इंश्योरेंस कंपनी तो टो नहीं करती, तो मैंने एक आरसी कंपनी खुद की बनाई, एक्वायर करी मैंने. तो वो प्रॉब्लम सॉल्व होती है विद आरसी कंपनी. दैट सीड आई हैव सोन, द विजन सीज दैट. और गाड़ी ठोकेगी, उसको टो हो गई, लेके जाना है कहीं. अब सर्विस सेंटर हमारे डीलर पार्टनर्स के हैं, उनके लिए लेके जाएंगे. वहाँ पर हमारे को कमिटमेंट चाहिए डीलर पार्टनर से कि भाई हमारा जो कंज्यूमर आ रहा है उसको एक्स्ट्रा चार्ज नहीं लगना चाहिए, क्लेम उसका सेटल होना चाहिए विदाउट. अब इंश्योरेंस कंपनी और इनका जो क्लेम सेटलमेंट है वो ईजी प्रोसेस बनाएंगे. विजन में कि सारी चीज़ें मेजर हो रही होंगी, और ये मैं स्टेप बोल रहा हूँ सबका मेजरमेंट होगा, ऐसे मान के चलो. दैट्स हाउ आई विल डिजिटली एनेबल एक्सपीरियंस, बिकॉज आई एम मेजरिंग द एक्सपीरियंस एंड टू एंड. एंड में होता है इस इंश्योरेंस क्लेम नहीं सेटल हुआ, मेरे को अच्छा नहीं लगा, उसकी पहले 20 स्टेप होते हैं जिस पे हम लोग फिक्स कर सकते हैं वो एक्सपीरियंस फ्रैंकली. एंड दैट्स व्हाट आई एम ट्राइंग टू डू. आई डोंट वांट टू मेजर एनीबॉडी ऑन आउटकम एनीमोर. अगर आपका लड़का पढ़ाई में अच्छा नहीं तो आपको पता लगता है ये म्यूजिक में अच्छा है, तो म्यूजिक की क्लास लगे होते तो रॉकस्टार ही बन जाए, राइट? दैट्स हाउ आई एम लुकिंग एट इट. एवरीबॉडी इज टैलेंटेड एट समथिंग and we have to understand and measure that and find out what is he fit for and what is the areas of improvement. It's little grooming here and little grooming here, he'll perform. And that's what dealers want. Every sales company wants that kind. That's what I'm trying to do.